Afternoon, guys. How are we? Both well, thanks. Lee Wizkid, likewise. JD, a regular contributor here. Juan Alavizzo, likewise, is how are we in a Darwin accent. Yeah, sound. Let's do this stuff then, shall we? We've got quite a lot to talk about, actually. Some interesting news today, Steve. Came immediately, pretty much as most people are opening their eyes around here, I think it's fair to say. Jurgen Klopp, former Liverpool manager, of course, is back in footy. He will be taking over as head of global soccer of the Red Bull football group and their particular stable, which of course includes Salzburg, New York Red Bulls, RB Leipzig, of course, as we know, and two Brazilian sides, one of whom I only found out existed today, I'll be dead honest with you. Red Bull Bragantino and Red Bull Brazil, both of Brazil, as I mentioned. We've just listened to him speak actually a moment ago, but before we dive into sort of the details on what it all looks like and means, what do you think about it? What do you make of it all?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, he's always maintained he's not ready to go back on the sidelines. You mentioned there before about his little Instagram post or whatever saying the same thing. It's a great job for him. I understand it. You know, he gets to be involved in footy. I think, you know, it's easy having a break, but also he feels like the type of fella who will want to work, and I think again he said as much on his social media. So I get it from his point of view. The interesting one is obviously a couple of reports. There was one saying there's a potential outgoing if he wants to be the German national manager, and the second one actually is the backlash that he seems to be getting from Germany. You know, Jurgen's always been held in such high regard, even as a Dortmund ex-Dortmund manager. Other clubs have still admired him and liked what he stands for. I think he's actually getting a little bit of stick now for going to Red Bull. Obviously, they're not the most popular organisation with what happened to Leipzig and the money and what they all think about him in Germany. So yeah, his PR is taking a little bit of a hit. But it's an ideal job for him. He gets to be involved in footy. I'm sure he gets paid very well. Probably less stressful job, and he isn't on the sidelines, which is something he seems keen to avoid going back to. Yeah,
it's an interesting one. Obviously, you mentioned there the backlash from Germany. I've seen a few bits and pieces of that myself, Dortmund fans included. So obviously a club very close to his heart, somewhere that he adores, and likewise, vice versa as well. But yeah, it feels as though it's not a decision that a lot of people are going to fall in love with. I think it's fair to say he's been quite outspoken himself as well about the Red Bull group and the Leipzig situation in the past. Obviously, Germany have very sort of strong models when it comes to the ownership of football clubs. They've got the +1 rule over there, the 50+1 rule, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's an interesting. Interesting is one word for it. It's a decision that he's made, and I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure people will adore it back home in Germany. But we just, like I said, listen to what he said there in terms of what the role is, and obviously not being on the sidelines. But it's quite interesting to hear him talk about wanting to learn again and understand what it's like to be that sort of person in a football sphere. So yeah, one of the things that was mentioned from the report this morning was he'll be in charge of sort of implementing the philosophy, the transfer of talent and the coaching side of things. Obviously we know Pep Lijnders is currently in situ at RB Salzburg, but he's on a long-term contract. But you've just touched upon it there as well, Steve. There's seemingly an exit clause if the Germany national team job come calling. Do you still think that national team job will be where he ends up? That will be his calling eventually?
Yeah, he'll manage Germany at some point before he packs it all in. That might be his last managerial job, but I think he will be. The interesting thing, like I say, he's effectively for RB Leipzig what Michael Edwards is going to be for FSG. Obviously, for Red Bull, I should say. They've already got their group of teams, like you mentioned before. They've got plenty of them, and they need someone to oversee it. From them, it's an amazing hire. I couldn't think of many better. It's fantastic. So good luck to them, and kudos to them for getting him in now. Again, Red Bull have got a lot of money. I'm sure they've paid him well. It's interesting that the fella who said he's run out of energy, he's gone straight to Red Bull, so he should be full of energy.
Should be okay on that front.
That's one thing that he won't have to worry about going forward. So yeah, fair enough to him. I've always thought it would be weird if he went back into management, and the possibility of him managing against Liverpool one day, and if he goes back into club management, that possibility obviously exists, whether it be a Champions League fixtures that can crop up or whatever. So I'm glad on that behalf. I think this will be his job until Germany comes up. He'll do Germany, and then that'll be him.
Yeah, I agree.
So fair play to him. But like I say, his PR has definitely taken a hit. There's no doubt about it. Dortmund fans aren't happy. A lot of just like regular commenters in and around German football who are dead against what RB Leipzig did, and the RB group in general have done. Yeah, Jurgen's gone from the fans' favourite to getting a little bit of a kicking, really.
No, he has done, yeah. It's interesting, like I say, lots of different sort of opinions on it. One of the ones I see, and someone I've spoken to a couple of times for various reasons, Konstantin Echner, big sort of German journalist over there, he described that he was going on somewhere else to speak about it, actually, but he described it straight away as a controversial decision. So there you go, you know what I mean? It's not plain sailing, let's put it that way, in that sphere over there in Germany. We'll move on, though. We'll move on to Alisson Becker. We discussed this earlier on the week about obviously going for a scan, all that sort of stuff. Now, the results of that scan appear to be in, and Lewis Steele, another friend of the show, has confirmed he will miss around 6 weeks after scan results confirmed a hamstring injury. No specific date has been cited as a target for return, but he's not expected to be back until after the next international break, which is mid-November, as he mentions there. Now, some of the games he could miss with Chelsea, obviously Leipzig, we just been speaking about them, Arsenal away, Brighton away in the Carabao, Brighton at home, Bayer Leverkusen, Aston Villa. I mean, Steve, we touched on what it means and all that sort of stuff, but not good news.
No, it's not. Put it bluntly, I don't know if 6 weeks is conservative either. That feels quick. If it's for a long-term hamstring injury, to be honest with you, I'd be shocked if it was. If it wasn't, sorry, I wouldn't be shocked if it was any more. But yeah, you're right. They're big games. This is that crunch period that we've all been saying. Right, Liverpool get through the first part. In fixtures that you predominantly should win. Liverpool did that. Now here comes some really big games that he's going to be out until. And am I right in saying what was the last of those games? Sorry, mate.
It's Aston Villa.
And then am I right in saying there's an international break? They come back from that,
and then it's Southampton.
And then City, Real Madrid are in and around there as well. So Liverpool will be desperate to get him back for those, you would think. But yeah, it's another long-term injury for Alisson Becker. Like we're not used to this. We've had Adrian fill in for a long time, then we've had Kevin Kelleher fill in for a long time. So it's not something that it's uncommon. But yeah, it's a massive blow. I am completely fine with Kelleher in goal. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper, really do. But he isn't as good as Alisson. What is the point swing between Alisson and Keith Kelleher? We don't know. We'll find that out maybe in due course. But we're lucky, like I say lucky. It was good from Liverpool that he didn't let Kelleher go, because they might be in a bit of a pickle now. But yeah, not great news. But I'll be honest, when I saw him go down at Selhurst Park, if you'd have said to me he's only going to miss 6 weeks, I'd have took that. When he's smacking the floor and he can't even get off the pitch and he can't get up the stairs, I was thinking, real long term. 6 weeks isn't the end of the world, but it's still a big blow. Yeah, it's massive. And like I say, when you look at the calibre and the importance of those fixtures we just touched upon there, like Kelleher's brilliant, and Charles J makes the point there, like he references the fact he's a world-class goalkeeper. I mean, what I've seen a lot of people do this morning is say Kelleher's the best number 2 in the league, which is right in my opinion. That's absolutely spot on. However, best number 2 in the league compared to Alisson Becker doesn't really stack up, does it? You know what I mean? Like, we've got the very best keeper in the business. It's a bit like, I don't know, if you lost, you lost Luis Diaz and you still got Cody Gakpo, it's sound, but you'd still rather have both of them. Yeah. Liverpool, I think the drop off is actually more sort of potentially bigger than that, personally. Yeah, exactly. Liverpool, Alisson's better than Kevin Kelleher, let's just put it bluntly. It doesn't mean Kelleher has a bad goalkeeper, and Liverpool can certainly win games with Kelleher. Of course they can, but he just isn't as good. I think the interesting one will be actually what this means. That's the saves and the catches and the commanding of the area. I think Alisson is better than Kelleher. I think Kelleher's actually better with his feet. The difference is a lot of those games that you're talking about feel like games where your goalkeeper is going to be tested a bit more. The games that we've just had, Kelleher might have done better in. Yeah, but I thought Alisson against Bologna struggled with the ball at his feet. That might have been one that Kelleher did well in. All these teams feel like, Chelsea and goal scoring form are pretty good. Arsenal the same, Brighton the same twice. Potentially, it'd be interesting, Dan, if Jaros gets that League Cup game now, because you might want to look after Keith Kelleher a little bit. Bayer Leverkusen, Aston Villa again. A lot of teams who score goals and going to create chances. So if you're Kelleher now, this chance that you want to play first team football, you're going to get loads of it now, and you're going to get big games. Like, you're looking for the future. He could earn himself a real big move if he plays well, so he's incentivised to play as well. Massively. So that is a point I made actually earlier on, because yes, absolutely, because Kelleher wants to get a move. He wants to be first choice goalkeeper somewhere, but I don't think he'd have been overly impressed with the interest that's been in him in terms of the calibre football club necessarily. I think he'll have his sights set on a little bit further up the pyramid, personally. But as you say there, he wants to play. Here's your opportunity, mate. And it works well for both parties.
parties where Liverpool will want the best version of Kevin Kelleher in goal, and Kelleher will want to sort of put up a proper showing because he wants a big move at the end of it. You know what I mean? So any of the clubs, actually, probably apart from Arsenal, are probably the sort of territory Kelleher's looking at to go and play. The next few fixes, Brighton, maybe sort of the lower reaches of what he's looking at. But yeah, he would want to go to one of them, not necessarily a Nottingham Forest type team. You know what I mean? So a good audition, a good opportunity for somebody like him to put up, like I say, a good showing. Hannah asked a question, actually, do you think Jaros becomes the cup keeper? For what I personally do, I think it's just a pecking order thing again.
So is it one game?
It's one League Cup game there. Obviously,
we'll see what comes.
It probably won't be more, even if we were to get through. Obviously, the FA Cup comes around early January. I'd imagine Alisson will be back by then. Somebody else asks, speaking about January, Rambo asks, is there a way Liverpool could call on Mamardashvili in January? As far as I'm aware, no. I don't think that is possible because we haven't actually signed him yet. It's sort of a future transfer that's been agreed. There's no sort of recall on a loan because he's not actually on loan at the minute. So,
and hopefully Alisson will be back is the other thing. Like Liverpool hoping that Alisson will be back by then. So
I guess the point there is a lot of people in the chat referencing that obviously Alisson Becker picks up injuries, and this is the second time, I think you mentioned it earlier, but the third time he's going to miss a big old chunk of footy. So a lot of people suggesting that maybe we do need to sort of cut our losses on him. Do you think we're in that sort of region now?
I think he goes next summer anyway.
Do you, yeah?
There's no way.
Regardless of this.
I think this whole PR spin of we'll be here for 2 or 3 years and all that kind of stuff, just don't buy it.
Okay.
I think he was... I don't see a world where Mamardashvili was going to come and be Liverpool's reserve goalkeeper next year behind Alisson and Kelleher moves on. Okay. I think both Alisson and Kelleher move on in the summer. Mamardashvili's here. Maybe it's Jaros who's the backup or whatever. They'll do something else. The FSG have hired a head of goalkeeping, so they should be all over this kind of stuff. But I thought Alisson, there was a chance he was going to go this summer that we've just had, to be honest with you. He didn't in the end.
Okay.
You're going to lose the best goalkeeper in the world when he goes, but you're going to, you can't ignore the injuries. The injuries are a real thing. He gets injured for a goalkeeper like far too often, and you just always expect your goalkeepers to just be ever present, robust, maybe break a finger here or there or something, you know what I mean, like the odd one or two, but you don't expect like, he's done his calf, he's done his hamstring a couple of times now. It's just different. It is what it is. But injuries don't get better the older you get, you know what I mean? It tends to get worse. So I love him to bits. I think he's the best goalkeeper we've ever had. I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world. But that was the main reason when we signed Mamardashvili, that I thought we were getting him for this reason. Okay. And I think Liverpool have been proven right in this instance.
Interesting. I didn't think that, to be honest with you, in terms of the injury side of things. Yes, there's a thing, you can't ignore it. There's been far too many spells of Alisson not being available, whether it be for a certain amount of games or just one or two here and there. There's been too many problems along the way. I just think we are future-proofing having the best goalkeeper, or at least somebody in around that top 3 best goalkeepers in the world. And I think Mamardashvili is on a trajectory to be that. Somebody a moment ago said that he's having a stinker at Valencia. I'm not sure that's entirely true. I think Valencia having a stinker, he's actually playing really well. He's keeping him in most games, to be honest with you. I guess there is a slight concern. I'll round off the goalkeeper stuff now, we'll move on. But if Jaros does become number 2, now Jaros was great for 20 minutes at Sellers Park last weekend, and he's got that bit of senior first team experience behind him, so I'm not overly concerned. Somebody else says if the defence carries on playing like it is, everything will be fine. Yep. But I guess Kelleher's, he was only ill a couple of weeks ago, but he was absent a couple of weeks ago from the entire squad. So all of a sudden, I touched upon pecking order before, all of a sudden you've gone from having Alisson Becker, Kevin Kelleher to Vítězslav Jaros, all's well with the world. And now you've got Kevin Kelleher, Jaros. So if Kelleher has a problem in the next month or so, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden,
there's only so. What can you do? I mean, Adrian was was on the bench for loads last year. You know what I mean? It's never ideal. I think Jaros is a decent third option. I go back to it. I think I'm fine. I'm absolutely completely fine with Keith Kelleher. Okay, but they are big games. Massive. He's played a lot of games for Liverpool, and he's played big games. Don't get me wrong. He's played finals. He knows Chelsea at the back of his hand, and they're the first game back. Yeah. He's got good memories against Chelsea. My main one when I saw that 6 weeks was that feels conservative to me. I go back to it. Okay. We'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, listen, it's the best goalkeeper on the planet is injured. It can't be good news, can it? You know what I mean? It's just it's slightly less worrying because we all now know how good Keith Kelleher is.
Well, it's another, ticking the box of why Liverpool kept him over the summer, isn't it? You know what I mean? There was that interest there. Again, I don't think the interest was so compelling that Kelleher would have been banging down the door to go. I think he would have liked the move, but I don't think the suitors came along that made Kelleher go, you've got to let me go there, you know what I mean? So it's worked out best for all parties, because otherwise we wouldn't have had Mamardashvili. Jaros would have been installed as first choice, and who knows what that would have looked like Okay, speaking of injuries, we've got another one to touch upon, unfortunately. Alexis Mac Allister, we did spend a bit of time talking about him the other day, but Lionel Scaloni, the Argentina manager, of course, has been speaking about him and basically said that he's been training differently. Let's see if he's ready for the first game. For now, he's not been able to train with us, and we will make a decision if he's part of the squad or the bench. But today, it is difficult for him. I think we have to take care of him. He is a boy who comes with a lot of games, and today the situation is like this. So basically, Steve, he's trained on his own. He doesn't know if he's going to be fit and available for the Argentina game. I guess the immediate thought from a Liverpool perspective is, why the hell is he there then?
It's a competitive game, isn't it? And he wants to go and play. The game's tonight, isn't it? Like real late.
The first one?
Yeah, am I right in saying? Am I wrong in saying that?
I'll check now for you.
I'm sure it's very, very soon. So maybe it does become too soon for him.
Tomorrow, 10 o'clock at night.
Sorry, late tomorrow. I do apologise. Yeah.
And then next Wednesday.
Yeah, I do apologise. So he's got a couple of days to go. That's why he's there. If it was a friendly, my guess is he probably wouldn't be there. Mm-hmm. From his point of view, he seems to obviously loves playing for Argentina, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because we all think, we all just put our Liverpool heads on these things, but like, if you're Alexis Mac Allister, you're starting for the world and South American champions. Mm-hmm. The last thing you want to do is give your place away for somebody else to maybe take it before you know it. You're not playing in a team that's winning trophies, and you find yourself on the bench. So I get it. But he was injured on the last one, and he kind of half looked after him, but kind of half didn't. Yeah. The ideal would be that he doesn't play. Okay, completely from our point of view, but yeah, competitive games are different, aren't they? So we'll see how it all pans out. But you can't say it's not a worry. I would like to hope that Argentina have got his best interests at heart, but we'll find out in due course. Yeah,
again, I said this a couple of days ago, that Argentina will want Mac Allister fit and firing for what's to come down the line as well. You're right, obviously, on the competitive game side of things for these two, but it's Venezuela and Bolivia. You'd back Argentina to be confident enough to have enough to overcome both of them in these games without Alexis Mac Allister, as brilliant as he is, of course. So yeah, I'd like, and then they play Argentina and Brazil a little bit further down the line. So you're not going to do your player any sort of further harm. I think it's fair to say there shouldn't be any risk taken with him, but he does feel like one to me who's just flirting with, skirting round a bit of a more prolonged issue, because as you said there, last international break there was something, he missed a few training sessions and all that. This time he's gone there with a little problem as well. Obviously came off at half time in our game. Somebody actually makes a point here, it's MK in the chat. Do we need to be smarter, referring to Liverpool of course? So many players with discomfort, not injuries, are staying at their clubs during international break. Do you think Liverpool do need to be? Because I've seen this, I think Arsenal kept a couple behind and just said, oh, he's not going anywhere. I guess we want a good relationship with the international managers, because you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours sort of thing. But I think there is a world whereby you just say, especially when you take him off at half time with Mac Allister, could you not just turn around? I know you don't want to, annoy him as well, so I get that. But for Liverpool's sake, you could say, come on, mate, like you're not right here. Yes, but also then the national teams do have the right to call him up anyway. Harry Kane got called up by England, and they checked on him and made sure he was okay. Like these teams do have these capabilities, you know what I mean? It's different for like someone like Alisson whose hamstrings hanging off. Yes. You know what I mean? So it might be that you can't withdraw a player from international duty yourself. The club have to, or the federation. Surely the player has a say. The player has a say, but the federation also has a say. Okay. So they can call Alex up, check on him and see how he is, and that looks like exactly what they've done. I'm sure Liverpool would have tried to get him out of that, and I go back to it, if it was a friendly, they might have had a bit more joy in it. But the days have gone now, I think, where international teams are just beholden to the clubs. I think there's a little bit more power with the international teams these days. So I would like to think, I don't think Argentina will play him if he was injured. Okay. I would like to think that. But is there a worry that he can re-aggravate something or do it? There absolutely is. So you'd hope that they urge caution. But yeah, I just don't know what you can do anymore. I don't know what you can do. No, it's tricky. It is, absolutely. And a lot of people making the point there about how much Mac Allister just adores playing for his national team. And I don't begrudge him that. I don't begrudge anybody that, if truth be told. We're going to touch on Curtis Jones in a minute before we wrap up about his call up and all. It's boss for the players. Absolutely it is. But again, you know your own body. If there's something not right there, and clearly you want to play as much football as possible. Mac Allister plays a lot of footy for us. That's kind of what Scaloni's referencing there as well. He will have to find... There will be a place where Alexis Mac Allister says, I can't play. There will be that would exist. It might get to that. They can't force him onto the pitch if he's not ready. But it goes back to it. We're looking at this as Liverpool supporters. He's looking at it as, I get the chance to play for my country.
again, we're the world and South American champions, and with that because of our mentality and what we are as a team. So it goes both ways. I understand it. I wish he wasn't there, and I wish he was just got his feet up on the AXA, but he hasn't. All we can hope now is that Argentina, look after him as best he can. And he, again, and like you said, he's sensible. Don't say you're fit if you're not fit. If you're injured, you're injured. Don't play. Just cross your fingers tomorrow night.
Yeah, let's hope. Well, let's cross the fingers he's not actually playing tomorrow night. Then maybe next week he has a bit of a run around. But let's wait and see. So let's touch on the contract then before we touch on Curtis to finish. Obviously, there's loads and loads of discussion around Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk. A mini Trent update, if you like, from James Pearce. Now, there was some reporting yesterday. I don't know if this was touched upon in news at all yesterday, but there were some suggestions that Real Madrid might try and snatch him in January for like 10 million quid coming from Spain, which was laughable. And it's been said as much by James Pearce on the Walk On Athletic podcast. He said, now I've took this from the podcast, so I don't bring it up on screen obviously, there's absolutely zero chance that Trent will go anywhere in January. I saw some nonsense about Real Madrid planning a bid for him. I don't believe that's true. Absolute nonsense. And this is probably the key line from it all. My information at the moment is that there is no decision that has been taken. Those contract talks are ongoing. Now, Steve, good news, because again, I guess the question here is, would you rather let him potentially walk away for free at the end of the season or have him for the rest of the season?
Keep him, but it depends. Listen, if Real Madrid came in with like 80 million quid,
different story,
and he told you he's getting off anyway, then you take the dough, of course you do. But again, I saw Fabrizio Romano keep reporting like Trent's priority is to negotiate with Liverpool. Like my sense is that is the case. I'm pessimistic on this one now. The longer it runs on, I'll be honest. I've said as much on a couple of shows, but it's a difficult situation. Liverpool, there's no way he goes in January. It'd have to be something mental. The only way he goes in January is if he tells someone I'm going, and then Madrid come in and go, right, we'll give you so much money that you can't refuse it. But I just don't see that. Why would they do that? That's just nonsense on their part. They might as well just wait the next few months and get him for free. Give him that money as a signing on fee or something. So, I was never worried that he would go in January, if truth be told. I was still worried about next summer. It's a difficult situation. I know everyone keeps saying, we can negotiate with teams in January, and he can. Yeah. I don't think that means that Liverpool, if it gets to January, Liverpool are done and he can't not sign. He's available until he definitely isn't available. But there is work to be done on all three of them. But yeah, I was never ever worried when I saw that they might come in for him in January. Okay. I understand Danny Carvajal's done his knee, but for the amount that you'd probably get, it probably wouldn't be worth Liverpool taking those amounts of money. So I think we're okay on that behalf. No,
I tend to agree with that. MK says the club is 100% to blame for the situation, but it would be 100% Trent's decision. If he wants to stay, I'm sure we'll make an acceptable offer.
I say 100%. Yes, but we don't know when they first started talking to Alexander-Arnold about this. If they first went to him 3 years ago and he was like, hold off. We don't know. We're blind to what's gone on here. We don't know. If he wasn't offered the contract until, this September, this season, then that is horrendous and that should never have happened. We don't know the full ins and outs. We don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. From the outside looking in, it appeared like as soon as Jurgen said he was leaving, all contract situations stopped and talks stopped until they knew the new manager was going to be. Yep. We don't know how far the talks or when the talks were going on before that. You'd like to think they weren't just sat on Alexander-Arnold thinking we'll wait till he gets a year left and then talk to him. I just don't think that would be the case whatsoever. I'd be shocked because that's real. That's just poor. And these fellas, as sometimes they get people question them, rightly so. Sometimes of strategies. They are smart businessmen as well. They were never going to put themselves in a position where they go, we'll risk our £150 million asset just to wait a few months. I just don't believe that would have been the case. But we are in a bad situation. There's no doubt about it. Like it's a worry, and it's one that other teams are certainly sniffing around because that type of player coming available for free doesn't tend to happen. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe happened in the summer, a rare instance. It feels like we're getting like this could be more commonplace going forward, but it's never really happened to Liverpool. Like Steve McManaman and maybe Michael Owen, although Liverpool sold him before he got into his last year.
Nunes, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, you don't get the Steve McManaman one's the last one where the player just walked out to you, good age who you'd wanted to keep, like prime age. So it is a concern.
No, it's a major concern. Yeah, it's a major oversight. I'm not here to sort of put blame at people's door necessarily. And I said this the other day, I do have some sympathy for Richard Hughes, and people may or may not agree with me on that in terms of where he's at. He's inherited this. Yeah. And you've just said it there, like, you'd like to imagine the club were sitting down with all three of these, because again, you can bring them all into the same conversation. It's daft that we've got where we are right now with them, because not only losing three vitally important players to what we're doing for nothing is crazy, and certainly the way we're ran, and having to sort of replace them or try and replace them will cost an absolute king's ransom as well. So that's not pretty. But I think I said this the other day, like, Jurgen Schmadtke was in situ for a decent chunk of the time, whereby we should have been sitting down with Trent, and I'm not sure he was ever the man for that job.
I agree, but also
Mike Gordon could do it.
No, but he never had a manager. So if you're Alexander-Arnold, why would you sign a contract when you don't know who the manager's going to be?
No. Well, if you had, let's say we've appointed Richard Hughes or Michael Edwards has been in the building, whoever the hell it was, the whole time Klopp was still the manager. Yeah. We didn't have that 8-9 month spell with Schmadtke in situ. You could have sorted the contract in that.
No, I don't think you could, because you don't know who the manager's going to be.
But nobody knew Klopp was going then.
They did, no, but they did, didn't they? Because
it was November, wasn't it? This was well before that.
Oh, so you're talking about the summer before? Yeah, summer before. Okay, I get you. I see.
There was a long period of time there whereby Trent was in the final 24 months of his deal.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I said before.
Schmadtke oversaw like 9-10 months of that.
But how do we know he didn't? This is my point. No one knows. This is kind of it might have been they were in talk. They get to November, Klopp goes, I'm off, and then it gets knocked in.
That's a different situation altogether. The minute Klopp's going, I almost don't blame Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah for going. Hang on a minute, let's just see how this unfolds.
If you're advising,
I agree.
You're advising them, you would do that. So, listen. It's a messy situation in terms of who it doesn't matter whose fault it is. Like, if you want to blame, that's fine, blame. The ultimate situation is Liverpool need to get some players, get this situation sorted. So you can blame whoever you want. I don't know what that really achieves. If you want to blame the owners, you want to blame Richard Hughes, you want to blame Jurgen Schmadtke, you want to blame Trent Alexander-Arnold, play the blame game all you want. It doesn't really change the situation. That Liverpool have found themselves in a bad situation. Whether you want to say it's by circumstance, by bad planning, by whatever it is, but ultimately the people who were in charge at the time no longer, they all don't work here, so it's hard to, heads won't roll kind of thing, because there's no heads to roll, they've all gone. It's a difficult situation. You are right. I was never worried about the January thing, but it's a thing that is just continuing to rumble on. Yeah,
it's a mess, but like I say, not a mess necessarily of Richard Hughes is making. But what I will say is, if you can get Trent, both of Van Dijk and Salah over the line, then I think it'll be a huge feather in his cap in the early stages of his tenure. Just finally, Acid Bonson mentions here, Curtis has gone to break up Trent and Hughes. You'd love to see it, which is funny. But also, Curtis Jones, called up to the England squad. It's good news. Nice for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope he gets a game. I hope he gets his first cap. Good on him. He was there about 20 before the Euros, got let go. If they had injuries, England had a couple of people drop out.
I feel like Mainoo's dropped out, but I'm not.
I think that's what. So I get it. Good luck to him. Fair enough. He's been in and around again on the fringes for a while. So good. I actually think he suits international football quite well, Curtis Jones. I think the slower tempo is better for him. So good luck to him.
Yeah, happy days. Cool. Sound. I think that's everything then. In that case, let me just double check. There's nothing crazy I've missed in the chats. Nothing on the. You like this guy, don't you? This Marmoosh. Somebody asked if any more updates on him. One update is Steve adores him, I can tell you that.
So me and Jay did the show on him yesterday, and so Liverpool are interested in him, and there's been loads of updates. If you just Google his name, like, there's been plenty of people reporting the interest in Germany.
Oh yeah, from the initial, yeah.
I watched 3 minutes of his goal videos on YouTube, and then one compilation put together with some boss music, and I'm in. I'm totally sold. Yeah, he was a combination of Diogo Jota and
somebody's Cody Gakpo,
because he's tall,
and rangy,
and his body type is a little bit Kai Havertzy, a little bit.
Well, Charles J, let me stop you there, says he's a Salah regen.
He's a bit taller than Mo Salah.
Yeah, I mean he's Egyptian.
He is Egyptian, that is true, but he doesn't. Yeah, he's a bit. He's 6 foot, isn't he? But he's got a lot going for him. I think he's a good player.
Take free kicks.
He did take a free kick toward the pen. I honestly, watch the video. You don't need me to explain to him. I thought he was on. I did actually see the goals. I'd already seen the stuff against Bayern Munich at the weekend, obviously, where he plays. So, no updates, but your update could be, I think he's great, and I'm all in if Liverpool want to buy him. it means someone's leaving probably though. That's the only difference. That's where it becomes a little bit of a worry. Are we replacing one Egyptian with another, or is somebody else getting booted out the door if we get him? You know, if they do get him, we'd have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm all over him. I think he's great.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Chris Khan in the chat as well. You want to say hi? No, there you go. So you've missed all the good stuff anyway, Grizz, mate. Nice to see you, though, kind of. It is nice to see you, but nice to count you. Know what I mean? Sound, news done for another day. You will be back tomorrow?
Probably.
Probably. You seem to be on every one. Yeah. There's a good chance that lasts, because I won't be here. I'll be up in...
Get well soon, Chloe.
Bonnie, Scotland. Get well soon, Chloe. Yeah. Steve, thanks very much. Everybody in the chat, thanks very much. Joe, thanks very much. Bye for now.